Natalia Vladimirovna Rodina is a scientist, psychologist and parapsychologist, world-famous spiritual mentor, academician of the Academy of Technological Science of Ukraine, head of the Personality Development Center as part of the Academy. Hello, Natalia Vladimirovna. Good day. More and more people on this planet are starting their new path of evolution and spiritual development. Such people are given the best spiritual mentors and, of course, the knowledge that changes their lives. This is the knowledge that you carry as a spiritual teacher. You have thousands of disciples all over the world. Another knowledge people take from books. I want to talk about your book, Natalia Vladimirovna. The world has been waiting for this book for so long. This is a book of high knowledge. This is a book of revelation. People are already talking about it as a book that God dictated to you. How did you work on this book? I cannot say that I have been working on this book for a long time, but I can say that it was hard to find time to work on this book, since I have a huge number of courses, groups, consultations, shoot and video programs, and this work slightly hindered the birth of this book. But my soul longed to give this knowledge to the world, to humanity. The only thing was that I understood that the knowledge that comes to me is very complex, it is very complicated, and it may be incomprehensible to many people. And I realized that this book will become clear only in 100 to 200 years. I understood that. But the Bible was once a definite source. I can say that this book was born in the process of my creative inspiration, a conversation with the Creator, with the miracle in which I live, with which I live, with that state that can be called for many people a creative, divine, sublime, the greatest state. In such a state, I wrote this book with the sole purpose of helping the world. This book is a reference book for many spiritually developing people. There are really concentrated higher knowledge that opens the door for a person to understand a new self, a new world, all those processes that are invisible to the human eye, but they exist. If such a book is given to humanity, can we say that people are now ready for such knowledge? A lot of such knowledge is a discovery for people. You have not said about it so openly before. Yes, there are those people who can read this book with understanding, and we see it already from our experience. But there are also those people who take this book and close it, not understanding what it is about. Yes, I tried to give this knowledge with the understanding that I may not exist, but the knowledge will remain. And this is exactly what will be the cure, the understanding, the process of development for many people. After all, what we see now, many sources of knowledge are now very much needed by mankind, and mankind turns to these sources, although these sources are not clear to everyone, and they have different levels of information. I understood that in my book I needed to more decipher those states of a new life, a new age, which have already come into the everyday life of every person. You have been in the spiritual ministry for many years. You are a world-class spiritual mentor. You have disciples from all over the world, which means that your energy, the energy of the Creator, is present in almost every country on our planet. Just as students have their own stages of evolution, their development, so you have them also. Now you are talking more and more about the fact that it is important for a person not to get lost in those spiritual directions that appear on our planet. Some disappear, some are also transformed into something. How not to get lost in this? How to understand where is the truth and where is the illusion? How can you feel a true spiritual mentor? Yes, now more than ever, there are many different directions, teachings. They are probably born every day, and they are needed. And I can say that every person, every master, every teacher is needed since he appears on this planet. All people are different, and I can say that each person should have his own key to the opening to his soul, and probably these masters, these teachers, can pick up the key to those souls they can open with their knowledge, their understanding, and their energy. I can say this: every person, every teacher, every master contributes to the life of his student. And even if it is not entirely creative, and even if there are processes of a destructive nature, this is also the way. After all, everything you see, everyone you see, is the way home. But each person has his own path, each person must go his own way. And it cannot be said that this path can be easier or more difficult. Everyone chooses exactly what he needs, subconsciously. And a person often makes this choice unconsciously, choosing, for example, to learn from this specialist or another, or to read this book or another. That is, all this is internally radiated by the inner state of each person, and everyone will find exactly what and exactly at that time for which he will be ready. But there may be more than one, not two or three teachers. After all, every human life is his teacher. His every birth is his teacher. Each event is its teacher. Every meeting or parting is all the teachers of life, teachers who lead a person to the world from which everyone came, to the abode from which the radiation of life now emanates, which is present in the inner state of each person. Each human returns to his home, to his inner world, to his inner state. And the life of every person is the way home. It can be called that. More and more on your broadcasts or teaching courses in closed groups, you are talking openly about the metrics. This was not the case before. The reason is that people are already ready, or is there simply not time to wait? The time has already come when you need to hear about it and do something. Both. And time is no longer waiting, it very quickly reproduces everything that is inside each person, and we need to talk about it because the Matrix has now declared open war on humanity, and developed people understand this. Undeveloped people are even more afraid, they get even more sick, even more people die every day on this planet. But I think it's not a secret that this always happens on such planets, destructive, fallen planets, and our planet is really very difficult, very tough, and really destructive. If you look at the history of this planet, wars, one war is replaced by another. Of course, now the time has come when we need to talk about this, and when we can say this. There is already a final global war between the forces of good and the forces of evil. The power of evil is that matrix. It is a system, an energy informational system that controls the consciousness and mind of every spiritually undeveloped and generally undeveloped person. And the person doesn't even understand this and does not realize it. But the counterbalance to this destruction is those forces of higher energy, high vibrations, that control, help and contribute without violating the laws of the cosmos, the evolution and development of mankind. So they are trying in every possible way to help people, to help at least those who deserve this help, who have the so-called internal potential for this development, a predisposition. After all, many people do not have this. Many people with their consciousness are still at the level of animal instincts. The instincts of pleasure, reproduction, relaxation, unconsciousness, permissiveness, licentiousness. It means this is what rules the world now, and such people are not ready to hear it now, and their lives are in danger. They don't live their own lives, they are controlled by the system. It would be great if your words will become a position of motive for such people. After all, ask each person, do you want to live? Everyone will say, of course. But how to live correctly is already everyone's choice. Spiritual teachers are sent to help these people who will be saved. You too came to this planet at one time with a very magnificent mission. Natalia Vladimirovna, do you communicate with spiritual teachers like you? And to what extent is the position of these spiritual teachers in unity with the one that you own? In order to create a new society, not separating people but uniting. You know, there is a problem with that. This is a global problem, and the Matrix intervenes in these issues as well. It tries to do everything so that both teachers and humanity do not unite, but on the contrary, go through their processes in small groups. It's easier to manage them in this way. How do I feel about spiritual teachers? Gratefully. I know how difficult it is. I know how hard it is when you truly serve and truly live what belongs to the world. It is very difficult. I love these people, these ministers, I would call them that, these individuals who are so sacrificial and so merciful to this humanity. I thank them for what they are. Each of us is doing our job. I can say that each of the spiritual teachers, true spiritual teachers, I feel with my soul. I love them very much, and I'm very grateful to them. Each of them does his job, fulfills his mission. Each of them develops certain aspects of a person's inner state. My task is to combine all these aspects into one sane, developed, evolving society all over the planet. This means to create a society of conscious, developed people. This is what will help this planet go through the quantum transition, reach a new level of reality, as a new reality is now being created, and continue the wonderful evolution of a planetary scale. At one time, such an experience was received here by Jesus, a magnificent personality. I can only understand from the level of your student how it hurts you when you understand, see all this as it really is, how many different structures there are now. The concept of spirituality around this personality was put in the position of a business. Each person is responsible for what he does in this world, for what he lets go into this world. Does it hurt you? It hurts. It's a pity. I am so ashamed of these people. I am so ashamed of them. How could they? I am sad. I am ashamed of these people. But you know, this planet in space is considered as the cruelest, most belligerent, because it killed the Creator, its own Creator, the Creator of the universe, the Savior of the world, the Savior of the planet. Humanity killed him and did not even think, and did not even realize how they was doing it. People did it. Those people who lived then 2,000 years ago remain the same now. I am very sad that little has changed in their minds and in their souls. People are just as material, they are also afraid of everything, they also love pleasure and vanity, they also love money, everything is exactly the same. Yes, I am sad, I am very sad, but I am glad that I can tell people about this, my disciples, tell the truth, the knowledge that Jesus left us. Yes, now many teachings simply use his name, but this was predicted long ago. And he himself said that they will trade in my name. There will be a lot of false prophets on the planet who will broadcast on my behalf. All this is happening now. Indeed, it is very difficult for a person now to understand all this. Yes, everyone is looking for a creator, everyone is looking for great knowledge, but often under the influence of hypnosis, programming, they fall into certain traps, sects, where through fear, destruction, aggression, and some kind of intimidation they keep a person in these traps. And you know, the only thing that pleases me is that they do not drink or smoke there in these sects, although this is already good. But people are looking for the truth, they are looking for knowledge, but they do not understand everything that is happening. How to find yours? I also think about it a lot, and every time I come to this conclusion, even if a person got into a community where there is no knowledge and where the name of the creator is traded, it means that it should be so. This means that after a certain period of time this person must understand it, realize it, draw conclusions, and strive to the higher, having cognized and acquired such experience. So he needed this experience. This means that this person also deceives, uses others, or he is afraid of something. And since you are afraid, then you will find yourself with those who are also afraid. After all, the organizers of these communities are also afraid. They are afraid of exposure, they are afraid of failure, they are afraid of losing something, not having something. They are also in fear. And if you yourself are afraid of something, you will get to the same people who are just as afraid. Like attracts like. So, one of the components of the matrix which controls all of us on this planet, only a select few, your students, manages to escape from its strong tentacles. So one of its components is material. This is what keeps a human with tics. What you are talking about is afraid of losing something, afraid to destroy something, something that has not collapsed for years. And now the time has come when it really collapses for many. Business, families, health collapse, everything collapses like a house of cards, and the person is even more afraid. Is it possible to get out of this, Natalia Vladimirovna, even for those who have not previously developed spiritually? If a person understands that something needs to be done or he will perish, do such people come to you? Yes, of course you can. And it's not just an opportunity. Probably the inner appeal of everyone brings these people to us. I can say that I am not the only one doing such a great job on this planet. There are also spiritual teachers, but I would say this. Many of them are secretly working, giving this knowledge to people. But there are those who also perform certain tasks for this common work. I would say this. This is our united work. Just each teacher fulfills his task. My task is to unite developed people and help contribute to the passage of the path that each person has faced. Yes, the matrix is now more than ever holding humanity in its sticks. Only a conscious, only strong, only sturdy person will break free. But I see how now spiritual personalities contribute to the understanding of many people through difficulties, through the experience of troubles, so that a person thinks about himself and begins this path and process of development. Yes, of course, our students are the ones who can go go through all these difficulties, but there are many who are not our students. This is what you need to think about. You need to think about where these people are and what will happen to them. Because what to think about our students? They are doing well anyway. But those people who do not know this knowledge are not adapted, whose consciousness is in fear, so they are in danger. And now I think our program is precisely aimed at making these people realize that there is a way out. No matter how difficult everything is, no matter what difficulties you are going through, you always know that there is a way out. You should know that there is a way out. Where to begin? With yourself. Ask yourself the question, who am I? Why do I live on this planet? What do I want on this world? And if you hear an inner answer, I want to live, I want to be happy, I want to be aware, healthy, strong, live happily ever after, then start working on yourself, working with your inner state. Read books, start with books. They will be your first wonderful helpers. It is books that carry knowledge and information. When you will be ready for methods, for practices, if you are ready, you will find me, and we will definitely meet with you, but only when you are ready for it. So grow, for now, with information. Thousands of people say, top phrase, I've been looking for you all my life. And a person lived for 40 or 50 years, that is not so many. Some begin to completely change their lives, a complete transformation, a new birth, both at 75 and at 80. You also have such students. Does it all depend on age, Natalia Vladimirovna? You also have students in the older group who are 11. Rather, from the age of the soul, I would say so. Sometimes a person needs to live 81 years, and I have such students. There are students who are 86 years old, and there are others. Probably for them it was necessary to experience so much, to search in order to come to such an understanding that there is a person who is your teacher. The one who will teach you, who will help you, who will accompany you further. Everyone has their own time. You see, there is no template or some kind of standard. Each person is individual, each follows his own path, each has his own way. And sometimes, yes, a person needs to acquire so much material, physical experience that after having outlived all this delight and beauties of life, a person realizes that he is not alive by bread alone. No, there is something greater than bread, than money, higher than money, and all property, and islands, and yachts, and whatever. There is more. And the soul, having acquired some material benefits, strives for this. After all, this is the nature of man. Having acquired one thing, he never stops. He wants more, higher. And when a person understands, yes, material benefits have been achieved, and then what? What then, when I leave all these material toys? Where will I be? What will happen to me? Will I have this benefit there? And in general, what will be there? And how to be there, having the same benefit? Many people acquiring material goods come to this conclusion, and they come to me and say, where should I direct my funds? Many people ask this question, and I understand why they are asking it. They would like to send these funds to our center, but we always refuse. We refuse because we understand that all the means and the whole process that is taking place in our center is the process of the Creator, and if we need any resources, they will be given to us, and we don't need human resources. And if a person has some capital, some opportunities, he must manage his own money and his possibilities, and it is up to you to decide where, in which direction to send your money. We don't have the right to tell a person where to send his finances and resources, because it is the person who earned it. He himself must manage this. Everyone knows that you appear in people's lives for a reason. Question. Information about you is shown to those people who deserve it, or to those who are ready for this path, a very serious path of spiritual development. You know both this and that, and for those who deserve it and those who are ready. And I'm also shown to those who get the last chance. Here a person has reached the edge in his life, and this person is introduced to me through different methods, ways, opportunities. And sometimes a person understands this, and sometimes not. And sometimes, do you know what happens? Seeing me, such aggressiveness, such hatred, such internal rejection arises in him. As one of my acquaintances says, when Rodina speaks about the truth, she has such a disgusting voice. Is that his essence speaking? Yes, so this is what happens. This is what I am trying to explain to a person. That it is not he who speaks. It is his matrix essence that hates me so much because it understands, since it is intelligent, and it understands that a person can wake up, he can hear me. And so that he doesn't hear me, such a person needs to put thoughts in his head and say in the voice of the essence, what a disgusting voice, especially when she speaks about the truth, true knowledge. It says, don't listen to her. And many people, when they meet with me, especially at the beginning, they have such a strong displacement. People who have very strong entities, people who get their last chance. And if they take the chance, they will continue their evolution, they will stay alive. If not, then the meeting with me is the last for them. Everyone makes his own choice. And to tell people about it, well, I'm talking about this now, with the aim that each person asked himself this question. I have no right to impose, force, and coerce. And the Creator Himself, God, He does not want to be led to Him dragged on a leash, on a chain. No, He does not want that. Each person must show his love, his own recognition of the Creator, the Supreme Reason, this great cosmic scientist who created everything and supports this life with his energy and develops this process. Everyone must deserve, prove that you are worthy to be in the family of the higher mind, the Creator. It means you need to apply your inner skill and your strengths, desire and your capabilities. I can say that now there are more and more people who are given the last chance. Why? Because really, very soon, many people will leave this planet forever. Forever and ever. Many people live their last lives. And you know, there are those in whom this ray of light still flickers somewhere deeply, deeply, flickers slightly. And spiritual forces direct such a person to me. I am doing my best, but I have no right to force, convince, or prove. I will teach, I will tell, I will explain, I will help, and energetically as well, but everyone has to make a choice for himself. The fact that the planet will still undergo difficulties is obvious, no one argues with this. It is important now for everyone to think about that position of his soul, about the salvation of his soul, which, really knowing the experience on this planet, leads a person either to destruction or to creation. Everyone understands that it is not you who are saying this. Through you, the information is given to humanity by the higher powers, the higher mind. What does the Creator want to tell people now at the end of our program? People, you don't just live on this earth for nothing. You are the truth through which the light of my love flows to each of your souls. People, you need to wake up. Your lives are in danger. But you don't need to be afraid of this, because you have me, the highest, the greatest, who you really are. People, you are my children. You are that truth, that state in which I live. Through each of you I discover myself. In each of you I am present. And let the thought of this warm you and open your souls. People, you are the light of this world. My friends, you are the source of life, through which the cosmic mind itself, the higher mind, the creative force, manifests itself. You are the life that was, is, and will be forever. You are something that can bring the greatest benefit to the whole world, and of course to each of you. Always remember that you can do everything because the one who created it all lives within you.